Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another edition of the Shooters Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Matt, at PostUp323. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. You can follow us on YouTube and also follow us on the socials at Shooters Lounge 3. The playoffs are still underway, so we're back again covering the playoffs. Some series are already over, and the team's looking towards the second round, and there's some still to be decided. Returning guest. I'm surprised I managed to book him in again because this man's busy at the moment. Cancun Holiday Services CEO. We've got the returning OG Jordan. Jordan, welcome back, bro.
Thank you, mate. And it was yourself. It was your good self that reminded me last week that we need to bring the business back because it's peak season down in Cancun. So all these teams back, all these teams rolling out the playoffs. Some are going to be joining us by the end of the weekend. Just give me a call, man. Just give me a ring.
Give me a call.
You can get your lovely hotel sorted in Cancun, all expenses paid.
Big business right now, Bo. Big business. There's a lot of teams calling. It's a hotline right now. So yeah, I'm surprised I managed to get you for a couple of hours to do this pod, mate. So thanks very much for dropping in, as always.
No worries, mate.
Yeah, so we'll kick off. We'll just review some series, like I said, are already over, and some are still underway. But probably some we'll be talking about more than others. Some were quite straightforward. I think is pretty safe to say. Others were a bit more about them. But we'll start with the number one seed. So OKC Thunder, Memphis Grizzlies. This one didn't last long. The brooms were out. There's always at least one or a couple of sweeps in the first round, usually coming from the 1-8 seed. So, George, much to say really about this one? It was kind of over last week, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can remember opening it up last week and just saying this is a wrap already. But the only thing I will say is I actually thought that Ja Morant made a very good point the other day.
Right.
He was saying if he was healthy, it would have been 2-2. And at first I was like, that's ridiculous. And then I thought, actually, they were blowing him out before he went down injured. And then obviously they choked away that massive lead, which whether he's on the court or not, that's just inexcusable in a playoff series. At home as well. But then again in the closeout game, they pushed them right to the end, and that was without Ja for the whole game. If he's in there, surely they're going to have enough to get over the line.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a point. I mean, obviously it's all ifs, buts, and maybes. There's no we can't definitely say that would have happened, but he's got a point, and maybe that just sort of. Because I know there's plenty of doubters out there about this OKC team. I'm not one of them, but I know there are a lot of doubters out there about this team. And I think if you are on the bandwagon of the OKC aren't going to make it to the finals, they're not going to get out of the West, this could be sound evidence for your argument that, yeah, maybe there are a few cracks, but again, it's all hypothetical. They won 4-0 at the end of the day, and that's it.
In the words of the philosopher, I guess we'll never know. You know what I mean?
No.
It's one of them, isn't it, mate? So, yeah, it's... yeah, I think I don't know if Memphis have kind of give other teams a blueprint, like you say. If the doubters of the OKC, if you go big against OKC, have they kind of got enough to kind of withstand that or something like that? But like you say, I think once Morant gone down, it was all she wrote, wasn't it? I think pretty safe to say. Not much more really there is to say about this one. Watching that Thunder team just fly around on defense and stuff when they're engaged like that, like game 1 and 2, just watching them fly around and stuff. It's a scary prospect for any team really who they're going to face coming up. But I think like you say, they were up big. Memphis, like game 3, they were humming, and it one play and it changes. Like we've seen on many years, mate. That series can change. It's easy to say for Morant, isn't it? We would be 2-2. I mean, it's easy to say, but we'll never know. But it could be maybe they could have made a bit more of a series of it. I still think OKC had seen it through regardless. But he's got to say something, hasn't he? They've had a weird year. Things just haven't been right. sack the coach like 3 weeks before the season ends. So now it's coaching search, isn't it, for them in the off season, and have a look at the roster they've got. Do they need to make any changes or things like that? And very strange JJJ playoffs after having.
I mean, surely with
really, do you know what I mean?
Surely with the team and the setup they've got, I know it's obviously going to be the first name off the page whenever anyone's got an open coaching spot at the minute. Mike Malone's surely going to be perfect for this Grizzlies team.
Well, yeah.
You've got a bunch of guys that have got no real leadership in that team. He's going to be a perfect person to come in, settle everyone down. I still think Triple J is very raw offensively. Even given that he's had plenty of seasons in the league now, I still think there's untapped potential for him offensively. And we've obviously seen what Mike Malone's been able to bring out of Jokic over the last few years. He's definitely elevated. I think that's one of the things that no one ever mentions about Nikola Jokic. Without question, Mike Malone has allowed him to elevate his game to that level, because he wasn't like that when he first came in the league, was he? So
no.
I'm not obvious. In no way am I saying that he's going to turn Triple J into Nikola Jokic. But
now that would be a coaching job, mate.
I do think there are things that he might be able to do that would elevate the team, and I think it'd be a really sensible choice, because he's reliable. He's going to have pretty long summer to get into the players as well. So I mean, I think they're looking for a coach. If I'm Memphis, I'm trying to make a move now while the playoffs are still going on.
Right, get him signed up, ready, and done.
Get it done, because they're not going to be the only team that are looking for new coaches come next season. Because I'm sure at least one more head's going to roll. By the end.
Yeah.
It might not necessarily be someone that's in the playoffs, but I'm sure there'll be another team by the end. By the time it gets to the off season, that will part ways with a coach. I'm looking at you, Doc. I'm looking at you, Doc Rivers.
I wonder how long it was going to be before our friend of the podcast was going to be mentioned there. He'll be coming up later, I'm sure, and then the next couple of segments. But, it depends if Malone does he want to dive into another coaching position straight away, isn't it? Some of them like to, take a year off and things, and maybe do a bit of TV work or, something like that. Doc was doing podcasts and stuff, and when he got the call for the Bucks last year, so stuff like that. So it just depends if Malone's, does he have that appetite to kind of jump straight into something else? But it's definitely not the worst coaching position in the league, is it? I don't think, to jump into somebody like Morant. Very strange. It only seems like, a year ago where, Memphis were going to be, the next young team and they were going to be the challenging every year. And then, 2 or 3 years later, it's all very different. Everything they've had with Morant and injuries and things, and keeping Morant healthy is probably the main priority for the Grizzlies, isn't it? So we'll see. But I think that's pretty much that series covered, Jordan. I think, isn't it, mate? So we can move on. Another one seed in the East and another sweep. Cleveland Cavaliers, Miami Heat. This one was quite. This was ugly at times, and I'm sure you said something about the white hot heat on the last pod, mate. That got some traction. Sharing the reel, the 20-second soundbite. It's meant to be white hot in Miami, not so much anymore. It's kind of just been a weird season for Miami, George, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember who it was last week. I'm sure it was AB that said that he thought Miami were going to win a game in this series.
I think I did, yeah. I mean, just trial record, mate. Past things, and maybe I just got caught up in it a bit, mate. But yeah,
I don't think anyone really understood how just nowhere near good enough this roster is.
Yeah,
It's not. It's if you remove the Miami Heat name and put someone else on it, no one is buying that they're winning a game in this series. I don't think. And then I mean, all the talk about Heat culture. You got blown out by 50 in a closeout game at home. That is that. I mean, that's going to sting. That is going to really sting. And I think Pat Riley's going to be. I'm surprised he never had a coronary watching the end of that game, because that would have. I mean, that would have just enraged him. I think this is it. If they'd have gone out 4-0 and pushed them, he wouldn't have. I don't think too many questions would have been asked.
Yeah,
but to get absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
At home in a closeout game. I mean, that's everything that Heat culture stands against.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, the effort, mate. That's the difference, isn't it? Like you say, if you pushed them and we lost by 7 or whatever, but we give it a go. But it was the effort that was just not what you used to seeing. I mean, you know better than anybody, George, watching Miami against your team playing Miami teams over the years. That's not everything's. Nothing comes easy to the other team. It's hard nosed, blue collar, and just no messing. But this team just didn't have it, did they? Just didn't have it this year. And Jimmy Butler's saga kind of hovered over the team all year. It was a question. He was in the team, then he was out the team. They haven't got a franchise guy on the team. It's pretty safe to say, as kind of nice players Bam and Hero are, they're not number one guys, are they? So, but if anybody's good at resetting and kind of going again, it's Pat Riley. He's done it multiple years. Can he do it again? Miami usually don't stay irrelevant for long, mate, regardless of where they finish in the standings. They're always kind of usually, deep playoff runs that they have done over the last few years, haven't they? So, but this year just didn't have it, and I think the lack of effort, Pat will not be impressed with that. The Wiggins trade was a disaster. I saw UK Dan from Miami Heat UK. He put a few things once the game had finished and the season's over. He put a few things on social media, and he says, Wiggins just didn't look interested at all since he's been there. He showed a few flashes, but then just you forget he's out there and stuff, and so that's been a disaster. And Rozier,
the thing with Wiggins is, I think because he played so well for the Warriors in that series.
Oh, he's made a career out of that, bro.
But the thing that people don't think about is that was just the perfect situation for him at that time.
Exactly.
And that just led everyone to forget what had happened before that.
Yeah.
And and now here we are again. It's another what if. What could have been if he'd sort of transferred that college game over to the NBA, and it's never really happened for him, has it? So
no. Yeah, I mean, we've said before, bro, on previous shows, didn't we, years ago, if Wiggins is your third, fourth guy, that's okay. But if Wiggins is your 1 and 2 guy, we're in trouble, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if Miami were looking at him to be that guy, but, playing with Steph Curry makes things a lot easier, bro, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Playing with a guy of that caliber, everything's easier then, isn't it? Because he creates so much, like people gravitate towards him, and people are worried about what he's doing, and you're just in, doing your thing. And I mean, he had a very good finals, didn't he? When the Warriors won. I mean, unfortunately, sorry, George, but you'd know in that finals, mates. But he was really good in that finals, to be fair. But hasn't worked out as yet. But in Pat we trust, I suppose, if you're a Miami Heat fan. Cleveland, just surgical, just absolutely just dissected them. And like you say, that game 4 was kind of embarrassing and not really what you used to seeing from Miami. But Cleveland move on. So I don't know if there's any more we need to say about that, bro. I don't know.
No, I mean, it's like, I suppose the sort of thing that surprised me a little bit is I was expecting everyone to now be saying now Cleveland are the favourites to come out of the East.
Mm.
I think it's very telling that still this hasn't really moved the needle for anybody.
No.
I think it probably is a testament to just how poor this Miami Heat team is. But
Maybe.
Regardless, if if you're a bad team, you're not beating them by 50 in a closeout game on the road. So I'm surprised this hasn't moved the needle more than it has. But I suppose for the reasons we've already discussed, that's probably why it hasn't been moved. It's just because what are they really playing? Is this just a team that had no interest right from the beginning, and then they've just been worn down and down and down until it's got to the point where in game 4 they've just thought, can't be bothered anymore. We're going nowhere. This is a waste of time, and they've just thrown the towel in.
I need to phone Jordan.
Yeah,
I need to get hold of Jordan.
Running back to the locker room at ASAP before the next team.
Messaging Jordan half time. Bro, hit me up. 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Let's go. I don't know. I think it was over and they knew it, and it was just a slow, painful death, unfortunately.
More or less.
Which probably poor term of phrase, but you know what I mean. It was over, and everybody knew it. I don't know. It should be the mercy rule in in NBA basketball? I don't know. If you're down 50 at home, mate, in the third quarter, let's just call it a day, lads. Yeah, we're done, aren't we? I don't know. We'll brainstorm that at some point. So moving on. I'm sure Mr. Jordan has a vested interest, obviously, Celtics fan. The defending champs, the gentleman's sweep against the 7th seed Orlando Magic. Probably a bit more harder work than Cleveland had against Miami. Orlando took a game, and the games were probably closer than the last couple that we've gone through. George, what were your thoughts on the series as a whole?
I think the one thing that I did mention last week, and I think it was quite ironic that we ended up dropping the third game after I said that I think it'll be pretty smooth sailing now that Tatum's back. I think that the main thing is that this is Celtics fans will know this. Orlando, it's not been a good matchup for us in the regular season for the last sort of 2 or 3 seasons. It's not been an easy matchup. So I'm not that surprised, really, that they managed to push us, even with a depleted roster and, with like 1 and 2 v5 basketball that we spoke about with Wagner and Banchero, the complete lack of perimeter shot making. It was always going to be, even though it is a difficult matchup, the cream will rise to the top in the playoffs and we'll have enough to beat them, which is exactly how it's turned out. But it wasn't straightforward, and I think it was a pretty big statement victory to close it out, win by 30, and say, right, that's it, moving on now. Do want to touch on it, Matt? Now I've told you already. They did play some dirty basketball, did Orlando? I wasn't impressed with quite a few of the plays that were going on. I know we spoke last week. You asked me last week about the Tatum foul, KCP on Tatum, and I said, I didn't think it was a flagrant. But then he went and did something in the next game and got a flagrant for that as well. And I was starting to think, hang on a minute. And there were a couple of reviews in the fourth game that went to review for flagrant fouls. All right, they weren't given, but there was still very unnecessary fouls, and I wasn't too impressed with it. But I suppose if that's all if you're not good enough to win fair, then you're gonna have to play dirty, aren't you? So, but realistically, I think it's a good chance for Orlando to build on that now. They've seen that they can put a test up to a defending champion when they're sort of heavy underdogs with several guys missing. So I think the future still looks bright for them. But for the Celtics, it's business as usual, Matt. This is what needs to happen. It was a nice start into the playoffs. Tatum, was it 37, 35, and 36 in 3 consecutive games, and people keep saying he's not a playoff performer.
Wasn't you that guy once?
Many years ago.
Yeah. It was a bad time. It was a bad time for me.
But I mean, really, you know, I don't understand because I don't think anyone's even spoke about that. I thought, all right, yeah, this is the thing because no one talks about him when he's playing well, and then when he throws in a stinker, it's oh my god, he's terrible. He's the most overrated superstar in the. Come on, mate, you can't be doing that and then not saying that he's playing well when he's playing well. Even guys I don't like, I still say, oh wow, what a game he's played.
Yeah,
I don't just jump on every bad thing that someone's done. So it's
yeah.
frustrating, but you know, I think maybe he just needs to grow into the role a little bit. Just sort of accept it and be like, all right, I'll be that sort of pantomime villain that people don't like.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Embrace the hate. Yeah,
Embrace it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Maybe next time you know he hits a big shot, just throw the old grenade and you just go like that. New celebration. Just call Jar up and say, "Can I borrow your celebration next game, please?"
Keeps pointing at his wrist now, right? He keeps pointing at his wrist because
I think for all the I think so. He spoke about it after Game 4, and he was like, the reason he was doing it is because everyone was talking about, and it wasn't aimed. It was aimed mainly at the media. It's because all they kept going on about is that his wrist's not good. He's not going to play, and he was like, it was a bruise. It's nothing more serious than that. Obviously, it's not got. He didn't have any tape on it in the last game, so he's like, it's not a serious injury. So why does everyone keep going? He's like, we've already told you that it was a bruise, and you keep talking to me like I've ruptured tendons or something. He's like, he's fine. And I think that's just to remind everyone that, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. So can you stop talking about the wrist and focus on the fact that I'm putting 37, 36, 35-point games 3 in a row and stop talking about how bad my wrist injury is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said it's come from. So
yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's going to annoy you, isn't it? Because it's just taking focus away from how good he's playing, and they're just focusing on some fictional wrist injury that's not even there anymore.
Yeah, no, fair. Yeah, good. I think a good first round tune-up series for Boston. I think, mate. You know what I mean? Just there was a nice intensity in there. You know, it got a little chippy. I mean, mate, when you're doing stuff and you annoy Al Horford, mate, and then you're doing something that's, if he doesn't like it, and he doesn't usually get very animated about stuff, but there was a couple of times where he's like, that's not cool, don't do that. You know what I mean? And stuff.
No, but I think at the same time, like, he's sort of it's going to sound weird because he's not a conventional type, but he is our enforcer in many ways. Not the typical, enforcer where you're going to get a few cheap fouls and dirty sort of, little hits here and there. Yeah. He's more of a mouthpiece. Like, he'll tell you that something's not right, and he'll be the one that's the first guy over there saying, don't do that, stop it, and things like that. So, but
you know what happens when you annoy him, mate, because Giannis did it a couple of years ago, and then Hal was like, all right, okay, all right, and then proceeded to cook him for like half an hour. Brilliant, yeah. But
you won't like me when I'm angry.
He's quite. I mean, he is like a determined player and stuff, but when he gets animated about stuff like that, it's quite striking. When it's like, oh man, Al's, he's like, no, that, he wasn't happy about, and Tatum as well, and about some of the fouls that you kind of alluded to and stuff. But I kind of like the intensity, the playoff intensity like that, But it goes when it goes over the top a little bit, then that's that if hopefully you're not trying to, you're not trying to deliberately hurt anybody or anything. That's kind of, you're stepping over the line then, aren't you, bro? That's not cool or anything, because nobody wants to see any players injured or anything. You know what I mean? You want to see the best players doing what they do, don't you, and stuff. So, Magic, a weird season, injuries.
Just on the back of that.
Yeah.
When you say that, like, if you go out there to deliberately hurt someone, obviously I agree. It's completely unacceptable. Would you also say the same if someone is intentionally doing reckless plays that they reasonably should know could cause quite a serious injury? Do you think that's the same? Would you put that on the same level when it's reckless play and someone could quite easily get injured by the way you're playing?
I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because if from the coach's point of view, you don't want let Boston get anything easy, do you? You don't want them driving. You don't want them getting easy layups. So if they come in, I don't know. I don't think. I'm not sure as any Magic player deliberately tried to hurt anybody, but they were like, "Well, if you're coming down, then I'm not going to let you have. I'm not going to let you have an easy layup. I'm going to challenge you, basically." And I'm not sure whether. I don't think it was anything deliberate, bro. Personally, but
I mean, there was the one in Game 4 with Wendell Carter where, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Brown. He was like going. He was driving past him, and he's just just as he's about to jump up, he's just like body checked him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they reviewed that, and it like even the refs were saying there was like they were like there's wind up. It was an intentional foul. However, because he's not airborne, it wasn't a flagrant foul. But I'm still thinking, yeah, but that's the kind of play that I'm talking about. Like it's not a basketball play.
No.
You've got in there. Your intention, like if he mistimed that by half a second, we could be looking at a really serious injury there.
For sure.
Because if someone's, we all know the worst kind of injuries is when someone's up in the air and someone takes them out from the side or from behind.
Oh yeah.
There's been some really bad concussions and stuff caused by that. Yeah. That's kind of the play that I'm talking about. It's like, all right, you don't want to let them have anything easy, but your actions there could cause head injury. Something could break, something could get really seriously messed up, and isn't it better to just let them have that one? Because it's not like it's every play, is it? That was like that example. That's a one-off. That was the only time it happened in the entire game. Well, surely it's better to just those 2 points. All right, those 2 points go, but at least then I've not, seriously injured someone, and it might end their season or seriously hamper them moving forward. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being too soft. Who knows?
I don't know, mate. Yeah, there's an argument for it, but I just think that's kind of how Magic play. That's the kind of MO, they're very hard-nosed defensively, aren't they? Nothing's easy. They make it very difficult for you. They defend the three very well. And there was some games where, Celtics weren't shooting very well from three. And is that to do with just weren't going down that day? Or is that Magic's defense? Maybe a bit of both. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not... I'm probably, you're probably a bit too close to it, mate. I don't know, because it's your team. I don't know, but I quite like that. It's like nothing's easy, mate. I'm not going. You might get it, but you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to pay for it in some way. I don't know, but I don't want to see anybody injured, bro. That's not really what it's about, is it? You want to see the best players doing what they do. But the Magic, they've had a weird year. They've had a lot of injuries. All their players have been out. Suggs, didn't play the rest of the year, did he? Banchero was out. Wagner was out. His brother has been out the whole year at torn ACL.
Well, he came back last year. He came back, though. He played game 4. He played game 5. Mo Wagner.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Unless it was a misprint on the graphic I was reading.
Oh no! Now you're asking.
I'm sure I saw something on a graphic. M. Wagner, but it might just be a misprint, and it should have actually been France.
No, I don't think so, mate. No, he tore his ACL, man. He was done.
Yeah, that must have been a bit. I was going to say because I missed the game because I was up really early for work the next day. So the last game it was on at 1:30 in the morning, but it was so when I woke up the next day and I saw the graphic, and it definitely said M. Wagner, but obviously it must have got the brothers mixed up, I'm assuming.
Yeah. But they've got two guys who they can, maybe, look to be the future kind of stars and stuff. So, they're probably a couple of players away from next year, finishing maybe 3rd or 4th in the East. If I was them, that's what I'd be looking at. So, I think most people had the Celtics coming out of this series. So. Drew Holiday's the question mark now for the Celtics moving forward, Jordan, isn't he? I think they've.
Yeah, I mean,
it might have played probably the last game if it was a kind of more important game, let's say.
Yeah, potentially. I think as well, obviously, depending on what's happening with the Knicks Pistons series, which we'll obviously talk about, he could have another few days rest. So that might be enough. And I think if that is the case, then I'd be expecting him to start.
Yeah.
The first game of the next round, but obviously, I just don't really know how serious it is. All it's said at the minute is it's just a hamstring strain. It's not a tear or a pull. It's just a strain. So, like you said, he might have been all right. Maybe it was that they were just erring on the side of caution and thought, we can win this at home without him. Might have just have been as simple as that.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. But you'll obviously need him for the later rounds, won't you, bro? Kind of goes without saying. It's a lot tougher when you haven't got Drew Holiday playing defense, is it, for your team, man? So so it's something to monitor, isn't it? But I think he'll be fine. Playing game one, whenever that is. But they'll be sitting now, resting up, won't they, bro? Waiting for Pistons and Knicks, won't they? So whenever that's going to finish, and we'll cover that in a short while. But anything else about this series, bro? Or you kind of happy?
I think I've covered everything, man. I think.
Yeah, man. Sounds all good. Okay, so moving on to another series that's already over, finished just last night. We have the third seed LA Lakers against Minnesota Timberwolves, 6 seed Wolves coming out 4-1 victors. I don't think a lot of people had Wolves in 5 trending on social media before this one. A surprise to many, a surprise to me. I don't know. A
surprise to Shannon Sharp.
Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Lakers in 5, not so much. George, thoughts on this, mate? As a series as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously pleased that the Lakers have lost. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. I do stick by what I said. I genuinely did want, in some sort of universe, to face them in the finals, but I think I was pretty sure, even if they made it out of this series, I wasn't fancying them to get out of the West anyway. So if that was going to happen, you might as well kill them off in the first round. There's just too many issues with the roster as it's currently constructed. Now, no one's talked about this yet.
I
don't know why, but as much as I like him, and I like his podcast, he's not a head coach. He's not a head coach.
Oh, damn. It started already. Here we go.
No, right. I said this ages ago. I was like, so he's only there really to keep LeBron happy. But that's not sustainable.
How's that working out for you?
That's not sustainable, especially now. He's well, I don't think there is an argument. Offensively, he is not the first option on that team anymore.
No.
You can say 1A, 1B, but I still think Luka Doncic, that's it. He's got the keys now for that offense. And I think you saw it in this series where LeBron's sort of let him just do his thing offensively. Which is, I think, that's the right thing to do. So, we know what, LeBron's got that winning mentality, so he just wants to win. So, that's obviously the right way forward. But if JJ Redick's your coach, you're not going to be winning any championships. I don't care really who you put in that team. I'm not saying he's never going to be any good, but this is his first gig. Yeah. And all right, there's been success with Ime Udoka, Joe Mazzulla, but they've all served their time as assistants.
Yeah.
And they've served considerable time as assistants. Not only that, but obviously Ime Udoka's out of the pop tree, which is the tree that just keeps on giving. I mean, the amount of coaches that have come out of there is just, you've got enough to basically fill the whole league full of new coaches. But he's not. Surely he's not the man. And everyone's talking. I've heard crazy stuff from the Lakers, like, just cut LeBron or trade him, or ask him to retire and all this. And I'm like, but realistically, that he's not the problem. The problem is clearly the coaching, because there were he wasn't making any adjustments, really, was he?
No.
Not that I noticed. It was just like we'll just carry on playing, and hopefully something will just happen and we'll start winning. That's what it felt like watching it.
Yeah.
And you had Chris Finch, who, I know I've said the bits and pieces about the Rudy Gobert thing, but he's gone small when he needs to go small, and it's worked more or less every single time. And JJ Redick cancelled. He never countered it once. Whenever they went small, he never tried something. It was just the same lineup every time. So, Chris Finch is over there coaching on beginner mode, just knowing that he's just got to do this. And if everyone plays well, because obviously I think the only reason this isn't a sweep is because they shot so badly in that game 2.
Well, yeah.
If they didn't shoot that badly in game 2, this would have been a sweep without question.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it's already bad enough at 4-1. This is, remember, I don't care what anybody says. This is the 3rd seed. And I know it's tight in that Western Conference, but you are the Lakers' 3rd seed, home court advantage. You are expected to win that series because that's what it's like in LA. You're expected to win that series.
Yep.
You now haven't. So someone is going to have to pay for that because that's what their track record is. That's what they do. If they get a loss that they're not happy with, that the suits upstairs aren't happy with, someone's going to have to pay for it. And I think that man will be JJ Redick.
You think they're going to get rid of JJ Redick after year 1?
I think they might do.
Well, mate, the things we've seen this season, I won't rule anything
things have
out.
happened.
Oh, mate,
far stranger things have happened.
I used to be able to have a good kind of litmus test on. Well, that won't happen, Well, now I'm like, like you say, could happen. Who knows? Like, I
just think if there was a really good coach available, and there is 2 at the minute, you've got Taylor Jenkins and Mike Malone that are available.
Yes.
They might be looking at that thinking, sorry, JJ, but this is a really good chance to land as a coach that can take us to a championship.
Yeah.
That's why it might happen. So, but, obviously the only bad thing about the Lakers going out is now that they don't stay quiet like most teams fans do. They'll be out there now, trying to get a Giannis trade sorted.
Oh God, I've seen the Giannis graphics already. I'm like, oh, here we go, and we're off. Yeah,
because that's all it's going to be now for the rest of the season. Even players are still going on, and it's just going to be flooded with Lakers fans trying to sort out a trade to get Giannis to the Lakers. Yeah. And personally, I think even if Giannis was to leave, I don't think he'd want to go to LA. Why would he want to go and team up with someone? He's the alpha dog, isn't he? He wants to lead the team. He's not going to share that with Luka. Well, even in a hypothetical world where that might happen, there's other teams I think he would prefer to go to than them.
Who? Who would you think? Anybody off top?
No, I can't say this. You're going to lose it if I say this. There's a team that I called last week, freezing cold, down on the South Beach.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great fit.
That's always in the mix, bro. He's always in the mix, mate.
I just think it would. But I just think it'd be such a good fit. There's no question he'd be leading that team, and then they can build around him for the next couple of seasons. And I think in 2 years' time, with with him at the helm, they could still be. They could all of a sudden be favourites. So we'll talk about that though. Obviously, I won't spoil the Pacers series, mate. I won't overstep it. It's nice to see the Lakers, and you guys, you can get yourself to Cancun. Actually, no, I'm joking, because the business rates that you can get from LAX airport, I can make.
I was going to say, I think we can make it work, George. Can't we?
I might be throwing away money there if I do that.
I was going to say, man, you know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. The thing for me going into this series was, could Ant-Man be the best player in the series in a series involving himself, LeBron, and Luka? And I think he showed that in the majority, he was the best player in the series, which is a fair statement, really. Maybe. Sorry, go on.
The one thing that he's got over Luka, he's a plus defender for a start.
Correct.
Now, how bad was Luka's defense in this series?
Pretty bad.
In your opinion?
Pretty bad.
I saw a take the other day where, it was. I disagree with the trade, but I see the vision that Nico Harrison was trying to do with Dallas. Right now,
Wow. Here we
now
go.
before I say anything, the whole reason that argument falls apart is the trade package that they got back was dreadful. So that argument falls apart at that point.
Yeah.
However, I mean, even if he's going out there and giving you 36, 38, and 9, everyone's like, wow, he's really good offensively. If you're coughing up 20 points on the other end or more,
yeah, that's the thing.
Doesn't that just cancel out a lot of what you're doing offensively? It's like, you look at all the good players in the league. Shea, Giannis, Tatum, Jokic. Who else? Just throw some names out, Matt. Throw a couple more names out. That some of the better players, some of the best players in the league.
Some of the best players, other than Jokic, Luka,
Giannis. Not Luka. Luka. We'll just pull Luka to the side for a second.
Okay, yeah, Kawhi if he's healthy, obviously.
Right. What do all those players have in common?
Most of them
they're all elite offensively, and they're all plus defenders. Apart from Luka.
I mean, yeah, I don't know about A+ defenders, but they're passable on defense. All of them are, aren't they? Yeah.
But the issue is
some of them are elite, but I don't know about Jokic.
Well,
Jokic is passable.
He's passable, yeah.
Yes,
but
that's all you've got to be, bro, haven't you? You've just got to be passable on defense. I'm not saying you've got to be an all-team defense and all that. You've just got to be passable. But Luka isn't even passable on defense.
But
That's
the thing that I don't get about is, I get it. He's not that athletic compared to a lot of the. I mean, obviously, compared to me, obviously he is. But compared to like other players in the league, he's not that athletic. He's got some limitations with his athleticism.
Yes.
Maybe that hampers him but I can't understand how a guy at his size playing the position that he does. Why are you so bad defense? Surely you can be better than that defensively. As a 6'8" point guard, 6'7", 6'8" point. How are you so bad at defensive? I don't understand it. And the argument that the guy was talking about when he was saying about, Nico Harrison had a vision and all this, load of crap. But, he does have a point, that the fact that he just doesn't put any effort in defensively. And it's the fact that he just doesn't try. And he tries when the series is later on. Well, often, as you saw with this series, it's too late then.
Yeah,
you need to be doing that from game one. I think he's too bothered about being 10 out of 10 offensively and putting up massive numbers offensively that he thinks that he just doesn't have to bother defensively. Then, what I'd be wanting from him if I was a coach, I'd be thinking I'd rather have not even 8 out of 10 Luka Doncic is more than good enough offensively. I'd rather have you performing at 80% offensively and putting an extra ton of effort in on defense.
Yeah.
Because then the team's going to win. Instead of you having massive games, but we might lose. Because he had a big game last night, near triple-double last night. But you lost and you're out the playoffs. So I don't know, but that for me, that's a big. I mean, potentially it's something it's a question mark that might follow him around now. Is he just a lazy defender, or is he just bad at defending? And I think he needs to put some hours in the gym and do some defensive drills, because he's got the physique and the physical skill set to be a good defender. He just isn't for some reason, and I don't think anyone really knows why.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a Luka Reeves backcourt defensively is a tough sell, isn't it? That's pretty safe to say. And I think in the game last night, they were hunting those two. Minnesota were on defense. Whoever they were guarding, they were putting in the action and getting the switch that they wanted. And it was just like good night Vienna. And the Lakers' lack of size. Obviously, we talked about, the Williams trade that was vetoed in the end. They missed somebody who could be a rim protector, rebounds. I mean, Gobert had a monster game. I said before this series, I thought, mate, if Gobert doesn't average 15 rebounds a game in this series, there's nobody there to kind of, battle with him, really. And what did he have? 27 points and 20 rebounds last night or something like that. So eventually it did come through. The X factors in the series for me were Reeves on the Lakers, and on the Timberwolves was Randall.
Yeah,
and Randall's had a really good series. Probably some of the best playoff games he's ever played. He's been very, very good in this series.
Well,
And
I mean, I thought it was kind of ironic, Matt, that he didn't. He's actually played better in this series than I think he did in the regular season for the Timberwolves this year.
100%.
And it's like we've done a complete 180 from when he was in New York, and he was doing it in the regular season, and in the playoffs he was completely nowhere.
No.
And now for the Timberwolves, he's been really mediocre in the regular season, and then he's come out and he's, I think he's comfortably the second option on this team, without any shadow of a doubt, and he's pushing on. I'd be willing to listen to a sound argument that he's been the best player in this series.
Yeah, I mean, he's been really good.
The only reason I would say that, I still think Ant has been, obviously, I think just the way he's played on both ends and everything. I think he, regardless, I still think he's been the best player. But if someone wanted to make an argument and say that, Julius Randle's delivered some big shots in crucial moments, and therefore they think he's been the best player, I'm not going to disagree with anyone who they say that. I think that's a pretty sound argument you can have. The only question is, can he keep it up?
Absolutely. I think he looked at this Lakers team and he's like, there ain't nobody who's guarding me, mate. I'm bully balling these guys. And he did. He even did it against LeBron a few times. Like, he was just, putting him in the post and just backing him down. And and you could tell he was like, I know there ain't nobody who's guarding me on this team. And this was the kind of, when I saw the trade with Towns and stuff and Randall going to Minnesota, this was the version that I thought, if they can unlock, like Randall, a guy who can create his own shot, because Ant was really the only guy who could on this team. Now you're unlocking a real different team now. And I think Edwards' decision making as well. I liked his decision making this season. I think that's improved a lot to compared to last year, knowing when to give the ball up, and he's trusting his guys around him. And they've got players around him who can contribute. Naz Reid, DiVincenzo, these guys can hit big shots and stuff. And if you're the Timberwolves now going into round 2, you're like, bring it. Who's next? Like, kind of thing. They must be really feeling themselves right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, obviously, just to sort of throw it back, I won't talk about it in as much depth, but with obviously the situation in New York for Randall. Was horrible, and his treatment in New York was, I think anyone would agree, was just completely unacceptable from the fan base, with the death threats and other bits and pieces.
Yeah,
but you now playing in a complete contrasting situation. You're in Minnesota, who love the team more or less regardless how they're playing, because most of the fans have watched them be really bad for pretty much their whole existence, apart from that run they had with KG in the early 2000s. There's no real, there's never going to be an expectation that they're going to win an NBA championship. All the fans want to see is that you just play hard and see where it gets us. It's that kind of attitude.
Yeah,
and that's going to allow players to play a lot more freely and not have the the overwhelming pressure that a place like New York's got. You can just play basketball, and I think that might be why Randall's just been able to do it more easier in the playoffs this season, is because there's no background noise about why is he not delivering, why is he not doing it, because you're in Minnesota, so no one's really paying attention to you, and that can be really helpful for some guys. So I think that could be quite easily why he's been able to elevate and find it this year.
No, absolutely, mate. Yeah, just not as much noise, is he? Playing in New York, man, it can be great at times, but it's also tough, isn't it, with the media and stuff, man. It's a great point, bro. Yeah. But Minnesota move on. So a surprise to most, but probably not to Ant. That man's got putting in a decent playoff resume now. KD sent KD packing in a sweep last year against my Suns. And beat Denver in a Game 7 in Denver last year, and now he's sent LeBron home and Luka. I picked the Lakers to win this series just quickly, in the playoff preview, because there's the thought of going against LeBron and Luka was such a daunting prospect. But Minnesota showed that they had the better team overall, and also most of the time Ant-Man was the best player in the series, and that's when you're going to come out on top, bro. So congrats to them, bro, and they move on, mate. So I think we'll move on, bro. I think. So we go to the Indiana Pacers, 4th seed against the Doc Rivers-led Milwaukee Bucks, and the Pacers. A gentleman's sweep against Giannis and the Milwaukee team. Maybe a surprise result, maybe not surprising as much to a lot of people, but what did you think on this series, bro?
Well, I mean, the writing was on the wall, wasn't it, when Dame had that injury, and he came back probably too soon, but
yeah,
that's what he's going to want to do, because he obviously wants to see the team performing well and winning, but he never looked right when he started. He was just his shot it didn't look right. I don't think at all. And then obviously it's ended in complete heartbreak because now he's torn his Achilles. And I think Giannis summed it up quite well in the press conference afterwards, and he's like, he can handle the loss and everything, but he just feels really, really sort of sad for Dame because he's sacrificed himself really for the team, and they've not been able to sort of repay it, and that's what's sort of going to hurt him. So, I think it's when Dame's out, that team it's just not good enough, is it? They're missing too many guys. Giannis can't win it all on his own. He tried in game 5.
Put up some numbers, bro.
Game in game 5, but it just wasn't enough.
No.
And even you can make an art. I think quite a few of the Pacers players underperformed in game 5 as well. So even if they just had a Chris Middleton or someone like that. They that's all I'm saying is that trade still made no sense to me. I didn't really understand it.
Yeah.
I'd rather rather than just changing him over for a bag of peanuts, you might as well have kept hold of him. But for whatever reason, it never happened, and now we're here. And what's next for Giannis? That's the big question now, because
there's going to be some talk now, bro, isn't he?
If Dame's done for probably all the next season, with a torn Achilles, we obviously saw how long it took KD to recover from that. Could be gone for a while. Giannis might start thinking, I've given enough now. I've won a championship. It's time to go and look for greener pastures. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, there's going to be the question all summer long now, bro, isn't it? Is what is Giannis going to ask? Get me out of here, and some very strange decisions over the last few years by Milwaukee, and they just haven't managed to put the talent around Giannis, have they? I didn't think the Pacers would win this series, even if Lillard did play, mate. I thought the Pacers had a better team overall.
Yeah.
And the Doc Rivers coaching tour strikes again. The collapse in game 5, I've never seen anything like it, bro. You're up 7 with 40 seconds to go, and you lose. Just an absolute what a way to end your season. And a lot of the game that they did win, which was game 3. was the only reason they won that game is because Gary Trent had like 8 threes or something.
Yeah, 32, I think he went for.
Yeah. So, like you were saying about one of the previous series, the Timberwolves Lakers one, this could have been a sweep, bro, quite easily. This one could have been one if that hadn't been for Trent having that game. That could have been a sweep too. So he had 37. Trent did in that game. He was 9 for 12 from 3 in that game 3. So just it's a crazy game. And he had a very good game 5 as well. Trent did, but to lose in that way, and that's how your season goes, man. Oh, it's a tough pill to swallow. And I could see why they moved on from Middleton, because I don't think Middleton was the same guy anymore. He's had a lot of injuries. He just had surgeries on both feet, which is never a good thing. But obviously the Kuzma thing hasn't worked out. He played 12, 13 minutes in game 5, Kuzma.
You had to remind me, didn't you? You had to. I mean, what a pathetic display. I'm not a Milwaukee Bucks fan, but if I was a Bucks fan, I would be sick. I would be absolutely sick with the way Kyle Kuzma's played.
Oh yeah,
it's just he's not even bothered, is he?
He had a goose egg in game 1. He had 0, didn't he? It's 0.
0 recorded stats. Never mind 0 point in nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Tony Snell special.
And, I mean,
oh my goodness.
Remember, that's the guy they traded away playoff Chris Middleton for.
Yeah.
I know that obviously Middleton wasn't looking like he was the same player especially in the regular season, and he'd taken a bit of a decline. But we saw. Sorry to bring it up to you, Matt, but we saw how he played on that run to the finals and in the finals itself. Some massive shots he hit. Why would you? I would just keep hold of him and pay. Because he's not going to cost the earth. So. He's the kind of player, if you want to make noise in the playoffs, and he's on your team, he's accustomed to it. He knows how the organization works.
Yeah,
keep him there, because when playoffs come round, yes, he's streaky, but when he gets hot, he can go put you 30 plus up in big games, And I think if they had him instead of Kyle Kuzma in this series, I think it would have. I still think the Pacers would have won, but it would have been closer, and you would not have had the frustration of having Kyle Kuzma on your basketball team.
Yeah. And now Milwaukee are in a real tough spot because they haven't got many avenues to go. They haven't got draft picks. They just haven't got a lot of options now. You're not going to trade Dame away. There's not a lot of options. This team's very old. Lopez, Bobby Portis. These guys are getting on, and the worst matchup for Milwaukee is a Pacers team who were just flying up and down. They play fast-paced, and they were just running them out the gym, basically. And credit to the Pacers. They've got a bit of aggro about them. These two teams do not like each other. I think that was pretty safe to say. There was a lot of... how Game 5 ended, mate. I thought there was going to be a complete melee at the end of... Game 5 the other night with Halliburton's dad, and just chaos.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't like that.
The bottom line, right? It's the same thing when I've seen. There's loads of other sports, and I've made the same argument. If your team's won and your son has won, and he's the leader on that team, why won't you go and celebrate with him? Don't go and rub it in on you. What are you doing? For one, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. Because I've played on sports teams, rugby specifically, where we've won things. I'm not running up to the other team going, ha 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 ha, we've won. I'm going to celebrate with I'm going to celebrate with my teammates. We're going to go and we're going to get absolutely hammered tonight because we've just won. We've won a cup or whatever. Yeah. We're going to drink. We're going to get on the beers. We're going to have a great time. We're going to celebrate because we've all done this as a team. Yeah. If I turned around and I saw my mum rubbing it into the other team's captain's face, I'd be thinking, what on earth are you doing?
What are you doing?
Not that she
Yeah.
would do that because she's not an idiot like some
Yeah.
people. But
Yeah.
it just makes no sense for so many reasons, and it's a
Yeah.
terrible look for
Yes,
his.
it is.
And at the end of the day, everyone's going to be gunning for you now because they've seen that, and Giannis is very well respected among the league, and there's going to be other teams and other players that have seen that and thought, I don't like you.
No. I don't think a lot of people like Halliburton anyway, do they?
Well, no, but that's only going to only going to
yeah.
You've just put petrol on the fire, haven't you? At that point,
Literally, yeah. I mean, what are the stewards doing? He just walks on the court, just nonchalant. Like, where are you going, man? Hang on, get back! Like, unbelievable. And Giannis, I felt just after the season, your season's just over. I think Giannis showed a lot of. I mean, he kind of squared up to him, but mate, I mean, he could have lost it, couldn't he? And it could have been a real thing, And I think
there are players,
restraint.
Matt, as well in this league. Like a Jimmy Butler or someone. If he did that to a Jimmy Butler, probably going to end in a bit of a different situation. But
yeah, man. Yeah.
There are guys in the league that if you did that to. They would genuinely they'd just swing for you, and they would, because in that moment you're not thinking, aren't you? You're not thinking,
no.
I've got to be professional in things. This is seconds after you've just been dumped out in a game that you probably should have won, and your season's over.
Yeah.
You're not going to be thinking clearly, are you? You're going to be, a whole range of emotions. And now some guys just, because essentially it's just a spectator, whether he's his dad or not. A fan of the other team has just come up to you and starts laughing in your face. I mean, I think that was incredible composure from Giannis. I think there's plenty of players that would have lost it.
No, absolutely.
But I think he needs seriously. I think he needs an arena ban or something. Put him because you need to put a message down that we don't care whether you family or whatever. I mean, can you remember the guy who he was like a Warriors, one of the Warriors steak owners? And
the minority owner,
over, didn't he? And he turned around and started swearing at him. He's like, "What are you doing?" Like, and then he pushes him. He got, he's an owner of the Warriors. He got banned for 6 months.
He did. He
couldn't attend any arenas in the NBA for 6 months because of that. So if you're going to do that to an owner, I mean, surely he's going to have to face some sort of punishment for it. You can't just let him get away with it, because it just sets the message then that you can just come on the court and have a chat with whoever you like after and say what you want. And I'm sure the Bucks will be saying that can't happen again. You need to do something about it.
No, absolutely.
Well, it did leave a sour taste in the mouth, didn't it, Matt? I think after that, you've spoiled. You really, I think it did spoil the celebrations for the Pacers a bit. It distracted away from what they've done, and it did spoil it a little bit, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, completely agree, mate. So second round now, it's going to be Pacers Cavs. I think that's going to be a tasty matchup, George. Would you say?
I mean, I think this pretty much is going to be the rude awakening that the Pacers may be due for after the way that they've conducted themselves up to now.
Okay.
I think you ain't gonna. This is one team, like you were saying, Matt, where we're talking about just running them out of the gym and running up and down. You're not going to do that to the Cavs. That's not going to happen. They're going to, the size they've got in the paint, massive. Pacers 3-point shot probably isn't good enough to beat them on its own. And I don't know how much success they're really going to have going inside, because probably not a lot.
No.
Probably quite a good matchup for the Cavs, I think.
Yeah, sound. You got the Cavs going out of that one, then? Do you think? Round two.
I think I'll take him in 6. Just because I know last season the Pacers were very good at home, and they have continued to do that this year. So I think they can hold home court. I think they'll lose in Cleveland. They'll probably split them at their place. And they might pinch one more. But I think 4-2. 4-2. I think I'll take Cavs in 6.
Yeah. I think that game 1's on Sunday, isn't it? So Cavs have had quite a rest, haven't they? They've been sitting chilling for a bit. But Pacers are going to have a few days off. So yeah, that starts on Sunday, I believe. Tip off to be confirmed. So, but it should be a good series, though. I think for the neutral.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's going to be decent. So, moving on. So they're all the series that are finished now, but there's still first round series to be decided. So, second seed Houston Rockets and 7th seed Golden State Warriors. Rockets blowing out Warriors last night in Game 5, shortening the series to 3-2 to the Warriors. So Game 6 now, Warriors will be looking to close it out. George, what have been your overall thoughts with this series?
So, quite a funny story actually. On last Saturday, I went to meet some friends at King's Cross Station in London because they were coming for the Eubank and Conor Benn fight last weekend.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to be going to that, but I couldn't get time off. And then at the last minute, I got the day off. So I went to meet them. No, I didn't have a ticket. And then I was sat at the table and I thought, well, I might just see if I can get a resale ticket and go anyway. So I did. And then just on the way out, there's a guy sat with a Jabari Smith Jr. jersey on.
Wow.
So naturally, I walked past him and said, "Rockets suck." We had it was a guy from Houston. We had a really good conversation actually, good few minutes.
Nice.
He was saying he thinks they've been a bit unlucky but naive because they've not really appreciated what the Warriors can do, and they've tried to match them rather than try to beat them.
Okay.
And I think maybe he had a point because last night they decided they were just going to do and play their own way.
Yeah.
And it worked because it was a pretty dominant first half display, wasn't it? I mean, I think when I decided I'd had enough and it was going to be a blowout, it was nearly 30. They were nearly 30 up, and I thought, yeah, it's probably done here.
Yeah.
And then obviously they managed to hold on and win. So, but yeah, outside of that, I think obviously Curry and Butler had a really quiet night. Wasn't really. I think you could tell quite early on it just wasn't clicking. And some of the guys that have hit some decent shots so far that have contributed, nothing was going down for them. I think Pajimski, he had that wide open three. I think that was the Warriors' first or second points, and I was thinking, all right, okay, here we go. And then everything just started missing for everyone, and they were scored. I think wasn't it like it was almost 6 minutes without a point.
Yeah, they had a right drought, didn't they? Tough one. Yeah.
So yeah, I think outside of that, it's an interesting series, though, Matt, isn't it? I think there's a lot of depth to it. I know, obviously, I've said before that the Rockets have got time on their side and that kind of thing, and even though they're a 2 seed, it might just be the fact that they've slightly overperformed, and it doesn't matter if the Warriors are a 7 seed or not.
Yeah,
it's the Warriors at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
I still think the Warriors will do it. Going back to Oracle, closeout game. It's pretty much that's the setup that the Warriors want, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going out there, as a 7 seed and being able to close it out on your own floor. I think that's that might be why Steve Kerr sort of hooked all the starters and thought, it's not gonna happen tonight. Because he's got that insurance policy and thought, right, we're clearly not at it today for whatever reason. We're not playing well. Everyone get a bit of extra rest, and then we can go back Game 6 and, put it right, win the series, close it out. So that's the way I see it ending.
No, absolutely, yeah. I think you nailed it, bruv. Yeah, I think this series was kind of the Rockets' chance to win this series was when the game that Jimmy Butler didn't play, and that was their chance to steal a game there, really. And Steph Curry just does Steph things, doesn't he? So that I think that was for me where the kind of series was like, right, okay, yeah, Warriors have kind of got this. If Rockets had won that game, then that he might have been able to take that momentum and things. And like you say, Rockets have had a great year, but probably they've definitely exceeded expectations of a lot of people. Definitely mine at the start of the season. Anybody who said this Rockets are going to be the second seed in the West, especially, kudos to you, mate, because I didn't see it. So, yeah, I think when Kerr started pulling the starters early in the third, it was like, okay, yeah, we'll let you have this one. We'll go back to our place and see it out. So, I think a lot of people are talking about the Rockets, how they're kind of a main guy away from having a really good team. They kind of don't have that go-to guy as yet. Is it a bit too early for Şengün to be that guy? Maybe he can be one day. Who knows? Maybe they'll stick with what they've got and run it back again next year. Jalen Green the Jalen Green experience, isn't it? One game he looks fantastic, and then the next it's like he's nowhere to be seen.
But Matt,
Rockets, sorry, go on.
He's been consistently off the boil now for 3 games in a row.
Yes.
So
did he have a good game? Good game 2, I think. Did he?
A good game 2? I think he went for about 26. I think was it something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Let me just. Yeah.
Well, then last night went for 11. Game before went for 8. Game before that went for 11. So
yeah.
Like
38 in game 2. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. So he's inconsistent. He's consistent because at the minute he's been consistently poor. And even
consistently inconsistent. That's
well, 11, 8, 11. It's quite, it's symmetrical, isn't it? That's as consistent as you can get.
Yeah.
But I just think that for them to have mounted a challenge in this series, they needed Jalen Green to be playing better than this. And
yes.
If he was averaging even 20 a game, they'd be winning this series right now. Because there've been that many games that have been that close, where he's just not been at it. And if he had been, then it would have had a different look to it. Just want to pull in the 2021 draft class that we spoke about very briefly before.
Yeah, man, yeah.
And looking at the draft, I know we were saying at the time it did look like a really weak draft. But as you go through, Cade number 1.
Yep.
You then had Evan Mobley at 3, DPOY. Scotty Barnes 4, Rookie of the Year. You got Franz Wagner taken at 8. Suggs was at 5. Obviously, he's probably going to be an all-defensive player guard this year. Şengün down at 16. So it's looking like it's going to be a pretty nice draft class. But stuck in the middle of all of that at number 2 was Jalen Green. And I think when you compare what a lot of those other guys have done just in this playoff run alone for their various teams, he's very much the odd one out, isn't he? And I know we said that obviously this is probably the biggest games or the series of games that he's ever played. Well, yeah, it is, but the same can also be said for his teammate at Şengün.
Yes,
he's never played a game. He's never played an NBA game of this caliber before.
No.
And he's excelling, and Jalen Green, apart from that anomaly in game 2,
he's shrinking into.
He's not living up to the lights, and
no,
might be a learning experience kind of thing. But there's plenty of Rockets fans that have already had enough of him, aren't there? So
yeah, and they seem like a team. The Rockets do. Who've kind of got too many players. I mean, Reed Shepherd doesn't even get a sniff in this team. The rookie. And also Cam Whitmore doesn't get it. These guys would get minutes on other teams. They definitely get bench minutes. So they feel like they've kind of got too many players. And I think, packaging something for a kind of go-to scorer, Green, Whitmore, and Reed for a kind of go-to scorer.
How about Green, Whitmore, Reed, and a few picks for Giannis?
I mean, it's there, isn't it? It's there, bro. And then you've got your go-to guy. Then you've got your guy. And it's there, mate, isn't it? They could put together a real decent package for somebody, for a A+ caliber player. And yeah, and the Giannis talk's going to go on and on. The trade scenarios are going to go on and on. I think GM John said in our chat the other day, didn't he? The Spurs are primed as well to make a move like that. You know, Giannis with Wemby is a frightening prospect for anybody. So I think the Rockets, but fantastic year for them, but I just think the Warriors are going to have too much for them in the end in this one, and I think the Warriors are going to see it out. But who knows if they manage to pull an upset in Game 6, Game 7 in Houston? Who knows? I think I picked Warriors in 7 in the playoff preview, so it could be another Steph Curry classic Game 7 if we get that.
Funnily enough, I had Warriors in 6, so. Nice. This could be the one that delivers it, but we'll see. The one thing I did want to say is just to add it in, just because you brought it up. If you had Wemby and Giannis in San Antonio, there would be shades of David Robinson and Tim Duncan for me.
100%.
Because you've got two absolute beasts in the front court there, and obviously different play styles and everything else, but but you can see the comparisons there, can't you? For
the next guy against the older statesman. Absolutely, mate. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, great point, bro. Great point. But yeah, Game 6 is Friday night, I believe. So we'll see. We'll see how that one pans out. Next one, a couple left. So we got the 3rd seed New York Knicks in the East against the surprise team of the year, maybe, or one of Detroit Pistons, 6th seed. Pistons staying off elimination the other night in the Garden. So the Knicks now lead 3-2. So Game 6 coming up in Detroit. I've been enjoying this series, George, as a neutral. This is old school. No messing basketball. It's physical. There's pushing, there's shoving. People are holding folks. People are shoving people to the floor. There's been some great shot making. Brunson, even Towns has had some moments in this series. And Cade is announcing himself on the world stage as in these playoffs. I think he's had some great. He's had a great season, Cade, for me. He's shown that. The worry is Cade going to be able to be, your number one guy? And I think he's proving that this year that he has the tools and the skills, and his numbers for this series are like 27, 8, and 8. They're real numbers, playoff numbers, aren't they? And but I've just been really enjoying this series, mate. As a neutral, the games are fantastic. Brunson's shot making. Sometimes it's a bit annoying with the foul baiting, maybe. If he's playing against your team, it must be annoying as hell, kind of watching. It's kind of like Trae Young, Luka kind of thing, where the foul baiting and stuff. But I've been enjoying this series, bro. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to talk about it. The no call at the end of end of Game 4 is just it's inexcusable. It is. I get it. Last shot of the game, you don't want to call foul.
No.
But when it's as egregious as that is, as I said in block capital letters the other day, it was egregious. It was so blatantly obvious. He's literally running to the side of him. He's completely in his shooting space.
Yeah.
Let alone a foul. If that's in normal regulation time, you could make an argument that there's a flagrant foul there because he's landing in he's landing in the shooting zone.
Yeah. And Hardaway Jr. hasn't even jumped into him like some players do, don't they? They kind of jump.
He's just gone straight up.
He's gone straight up, and literally he hasn't done that or anything. The way they were calling the game, though, bro, they weren't calling those fouls. So I can see why they didn't. But if you're a Pistons fan, you're like, that's a foul, bro. That's a foul. But
they weren't calling those fouls, but
they weren't. They're not. They're not calling the foul in this series, mate. They're reffing this thing like it's in 1995, bro. This is honestly, mate, the physicality in this series. For me, I'm an old school guy. I love it. I absolutely love it. But I can imagine as a player, it's very frustrating because The refs have refed it all season one way, and now you get to the playoffs, and whatever you thought you knew, or however way you played now is off. It's off the table, and I can imagine that's very frustrating. But for me, as a neutral who's just got no skin in this game, bro, I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, I can admit, if you're a Pistons fan, you feel aggrieved, don't you? It's completely understandable.
But I think at the same time, it's a great watch, isn't it? It's like a soap opera.
Brilliant! It's fantastic.
And, I think what was it that Jalen Duren said to Brunson the other night when he was in Game 5, and I don't know if you've seen it actually.
No, I don't think I've.
So Brunson goes down, and Duren's like, he's obviously contested the shot. Play goes on, and instead of running up the court, Duren just like turns around really slowly and just looks at Brunson and just mouths to him, "You flopping motherfucker." I'll have to find it. I'll have to send it to you.
Right. Oh, I love that. I haven't seen that, bro.
And then he just turns around and runs up the other side of the court. And I was just like, that was so funny.
I can't get over how much of a unit Duren is. He's an absolute man. He is a big man. He is, mate. He is big. Like, yeah.
Funnily enough, he was a Knicks player on draft night. Jalen Duren was.
He was. That's right.
And they traded the pick back to Detroit. So if they win this series, there's a bit of you could have had this, but you decided to stick on the Taylor's oldest time Mitchell Robinson instead.
Yeah.
But no, mate. Honestly, I think we need a Game 7, don't we? We really need a Game 7.
We usually get at least one, don't we, bro? It's a question of which one it's going to be, yeah?
And I really hope there's a Game 7. But I think, especially going back to the, I do want to say, this is just, I mean, it's what you come to associate with Pistons, or with Detroit sport in general.
Yes,
the resilience and the fact that even if it's looking really, really crap, you're still going to try. And after that foul or that no call at the end of Game 4, now you're 3-1 down. When you were leading that game late on, you could have been going back to New York with games split 2 each.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was sort of thinking, this is probably it now. But to go into the Garden, where the New York are at home looking to close it out, and you're able to you sort of dust yourselves down and go back out there and take Game 5 on the road in the Garden in New York in a closeout game.
Yeah,
and you're able to bring it back to Detroit. I think that's a testament to the resilience of this team, and especially considering how young most of the players are. I think I just want to give a shout out to JB Bickerstaff as well, there, man, because there's no question the coach is the one that's got to galvanise the players and say, look, and he's managed to get them to stick to the task. And you're coming back to Detroit. You never know now. This is a game. I think they'll be I won't say expecting to, but they'll be anticipating that they can win it in Detroit, and then we'll see in New York for Game 7. That's obviously what they're trying to sort of, what's the word?
Yeah.
Trying to. There's always every show, Matt. There's always one word that a really key time that I end up forgetting.
Yeah, I mean, this is another series, bro, where it could have been so much different. Like you say, the foul at the end.
Manifest.
There you go. Yeah. The foul that they didn't call, Game 1, Detroit were up, and Knicks went on a run in the fourth, didn't they? They could have had Game 1 as well, and then they won Game 2 in New York. This series could have been a lot different, couldn't it? Than how it is. But like you say, we need a Game 7, and this Game 7 would be the crowd at the Garden would be rocking for that Game 7, bro. I mean, I think Tibbs would play the whole starting 5 the whole game if it was Game 7, right?
Well, I mean,
he ain't subbing nobody, bro. No, watch this. You saw JJ Redick play all his starting 5 for the second half of one game. He'll be like, "Watch this, guys." I mean, who knows how that's going to work out? But yeah, I'm really enjoying this series, man. It's definitely a good one. Moving on, bro. The last one we've got, another cracking series for the neutral mates. Denver Nuggets, 4th seed. LA Clippers, the 5th seed. Nuggets taking game 5, going up 3-2. What were your thoughts on this one, Jordan? I'm really enjoying this one as well, man.
So, I mean, I think the only thing is obviously because of the tip-off times for all the games of this series and my availability with work and everything else, I've not caught a single game live. All of them I've had to watch them back.
Yeah.
I was sort of hoping that, because what time is it? Do you know what time it's slated for game 6, Matt, this one?
3 a.m.
Well, see, there you go. So I'm not going to be watching that one either. It's just a bit of a shame because I feel like when I've watched it back, I've been like, oh, but I know what's going to happen, so it's not as exciting, is it?
You turn on them spoiler mode on, bro. That's what you got to do, mate.
But Kawhi is back, isn't he? He's back.
It's oh dear, yeah, smells like it.
The only thing, and if this is game 7 Kawhi, we all know what game 7 Kawhi's like. However, there was a famous series between these two teams where in a game 7, both him and Pandemic P, as he was known at the time, weren't anywhere to be seen. So
no,
obviously there's a bit of history between these two. Obviously, very different looking Clippers team to then.
Yeah.
But as we've said a few times over the last couple of weeks, some things never change, and I gave James Harden a bit of credit at the end of the regular season when we did a show a few weeks ago.
You did.
He's been nowhere for the last 2 games. I mean, he put up a pitiful 11 points in game 5. Yeah. That goes, and obviously Aaron Gordon wins it at the buzzer with a. I don't think I've ever seen a buzzer beater dunk before.
What an amazing game 4! It was an absolutely brilliant game that was, man. It was unreal.
Harden goes up and puts 18 points down there and like 8 assists. If he just was able to elevate his performance even like 10% more, they wouldn't have been in that position.
No.
So I feel like it's the same thing. He's just selling a little bit harder, and I think in the playoffs again. And that's what is holding them back at the moment. There's still time. I think it's been a real ding-dong series, hasn't it? And obviously they'll go back to the Clippers arena that I can't Intuit. They'll go back to the Intuit Dome with
That's tonight. That is.
Yeah, so they'll know that they can get the job done and force a game 7.
Yeah,
but do you trust James Harden in a game 7? Do you trust him in a closeout game? Do you trust him in the playoffs?
I think records have shown Joe. That that's not something not a place you want to be in, is it? But this series has been fantastic. That game 4 was an all-time great playoff game, and watching that ending with the Gordon dunk, I rewound it like 8 times, and I changed my mind every time, as if it was out of his hands or not. It was unbelievable. I've never seen a game end like that. It was ridiculous, and you watch the timeouts and stuff, man. Like Jokic is coaching the team. Like Jokic is a player coach right now, man. He's like he's running plays. He's putting the plays down on the board and stuff. It's absolutely unbelievable.
And famously, someone asked him if they said, I think it was a couple of seasons ago, wasn't it? Are you going to go into coaching, Nicola, when you retire? Yeah. And he's like, no. Like, it was the most emphatic no. And they're like, well, why? And he said, no one's happy doing it. And if they say that they're happy, they're lying. So, but he's clearly got it, man. He's clearly got it.
Oh, mate, when people aren't doing what they should be doing, he's yelling at them, he's pointing at them, and it's like he's coaching and he's putting on an absolute show as well. And I said this before this series, mate. If Jokic wins this series against this Clippers team, because I think a lot of people are high on this Clippers team, probably being the second best team in the West, possibly. If Nuggets win this series, mate, this could be Jokic's biggest achievement, maybe bigger than winning the championship with the team he's got, mate. I mean, Murray showed up in the last game, but apart from that, they've done a good job on Murray, to be fair. Clippers have thrown a lot of players at him, and they've got people with length who they can put on him, and they've made it very difficult. Jokic is
I actually owe Jamal Murray a bit of an apology for my comments on last show.
Yes, yeah.
Because I actually saw, so there was a graphic that popped up the other day. He's had the most 40-plus point playoff games in Denver Nuggets history.
Yes.
In history. He's 3 games clear of Jokic. He's had 6 40-plus point games. In, his career's really, aside from the injury and bits and pieces, it's not even hit the halfway mark yet, has it? So he's still got plenty of time to deliver. And I think, we've seen in the past, I think maybe I sort of convinced myself in a sense, but clearly he's still, he can still do it in the playoffs. Of course he can. He's one that rises to the occasion in the playoffs, isn't he? Usually. And I think I just got a bit of a reminder of that in Game 5. That he can still do it. So
no, I think
set up really nicely as well.
No, absolutely, mate. Yeah, sorry. I think the Clippers they looked like they kind of ran out of gas Game 5, and the Nuggets just kind of went. And Murray was very aggressive, and I don't think I think in the first 4 games, mate, the Clippers did a very good job on Murray, and I think they made it very difficult for him. And they're like, okay, Jokic, you're going to get yours. You're going to be who you are. But can we limit? If you limit Murray, then they're relying on one of those other players that the Nuggets have got on their roster to beat us. And I think the Clippers felt very happy about that, or very content with where they were. But obviously, can't keep a good man down. Murray had a very good Game 5. It's just, I just found it unbelievable. We went through the roster, didn't we, on the last pod? The players who they're bringing on off the bench for the Nuggets, it's unbelievable. But they're in this series and they're up and they could win it tonight. And I find it unbelievable. You look at the 2 rosters together, the Clippers have the better overall team by a good way, talent-wise and stuff. But
this is all further evidence that Nikola Jokic is the best player of his generation.
It's ridiculous.
For a man who got announced as a draft pick as a Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah, I mean, that'll always be one of the best things, wouldn't it, ever, about that?
He's undoubtedly the best second-round pick of all time. I don't think you can make an argument otherwise, and he's not done yet.
No. It's crazy.
And for me, I said this, and everyone was like, "No, absolutely not." People forget he's still got another few years to go. Yeah, he could still go down as the best center of all time. I've said this before, and I'm not going to just relinquish. I'm not going to just relinquish that right off the bat, because the way he plays, it's obviously different to a conventional 5, but I still think he could go down as the greatest of all time in that position. And I think it's one thing in 20, 25 years' time, people are going to look back and be like, well, how is it? He's the best center ever. And why were people at the time saying, oh, no, he wasn't as good as Shaq, or he wasn't as good, when he's gone and done all these things, collected all these awards, played on a team that's not good, really. It's like we've said before with the MVP debate. You take him off that team, they don't make the playoffs, or if they do, they end up doing what the Miami Heat did this year.
They're nowhere, mate. They're nowhere. They are nowhere without Jokic, man. It's absolutely insane. And they got rid of Malone 2 weeks before the regular season ends, and they're still in this series in the first round against a very good Clippers team, against a very good coach in Ty Lue. And Jokic is kind of player coach right now. And that the young what's his name, Adlerman, who's coaching, or is he coaching, or is he just the face of it? I don't know, but it's this again a great series to watch as a neutral. Absolutely no skin in the game whatsoever. And we've got Game 6 tonight, so not long to find out, mate. Is this going to be the Game 7 that we need, George? Who knows? But hopefully we'll get at least one Game 7, bro.
Well, if we're lucky, we might get 2. You never know.
Hey, mate. I mean, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. I think we had one year where we had 3 game sevens in the same day, which is just. But I mean, as a basketball fan, that's where you want to be, isn't it? You want to have 3 game sevens in the same day, mate. That's what it's about.
I mean, my only hope is that this goes to a game 7, and on Sunday it gets played at 8:30, because then I can watch it. And obviously, because the Cavs game's not going to be on before this one, you wouldn't think.
I don't know. Maybe.
It would seem a bit strange having a second round game on and then immediately following it with a first round game.
With it being in the West, though, you'd think this would be on later. I think if this is game 7, it's going to be 1 a.m. our time. I think
I could work with that. I'm not at work on Monday, so I could work with a 1 a.m. start.
Okay. I think if this goes to game 7, it's going to be Saturday. It's going to be Saturday night.
Even a 1 a.m. on a Saturday, I can still work with that. It's just please don't be a 3 a.m. game, because I'm going to be so disappointed if it is.
Yeah. No, fair. It's all to be confirmed right now, so we'll have to wait and see. But I think that's it, bro. Unless there's anything else you want to add, sir.
No, I don't think so, man. I think obviously just from a Celtics perspective and the Knicks and Pistons series,
keeping a keen interest on that one, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Pistons. Yeah. If we play the Pistons, it'd be good for basketball. I think if we play the Knicks, it'd be good for the hype. And
the TV ratings for that would be high as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, and I'd want to beat the absolute living piss out of New York as well. So I think I'd rather play the Knicks and show them who's boss, because they were already outside MSG before the game started the other night with the Pistons saying they want Boston. Well, you've had us before and didn't work out, and we can run it back again if you really want again.
If you want to do this again, we can do it.
The only thing I've found, Matt, is that everyone always wants Boston. We never sit there chanting we want anyone. We take anyone. We don't care who you are.
Yeah,
we're to win. I don't, because they're playing. They want us. That's all right. That's your little champion. There's your NBA Finals, New York. Congratulations. I don't care. We want a chip. We're not bothered about you, and we've got the temperament, the mentality, the attitude, and the fan base that is far superior to what you'll ever be.
If you want to be the man, you've got to beat the man, mate. That's what they say, innit? So, bring on the champs, I suppose, as the thing. So, but thanks for dropping in, George. A pleasure as always, bro. Do you want to tell the people where they can find you, or where they can book their Cancun holiday?
Yeah, so you can just drop. There we go. There it is. NBA_infamous on Twitter/X. And yeah, if you want to book any Cancun holidays, I can put you in touch. So always willing and ready, mate.
Tickets are selling fast, so be quick, mate, because Jordan's a busy man. So
going to be a busy weekend as well with some of these series coming to an end.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. So thanks very much, bro. I'm Matt at Post323. So you'll be able to rewatch this on YouTube, and also you'll be able to listen back to it on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. So we'll be back next week. We'll be into the second round then, guys. So there'll be more talking points. So we'll be back again next week at some point. So stay tuned for that, guys. So thanks very much, and we'll see you again very soon.